Now, is it just me, or does the $95 Venture card look a little bit better than the $395 Venture X? Maybe I'm crazy, but I think this card looks a little bit nicer. What do you guys think? Let me know down below. And yes, I did finally get the Venture card in the mail. And for those who are unfamiliar of why I got this card and how I got this card, essentially a couple of weeks ago, a new offer dropped on this specific credit card. You pay a $95 annual fee, and they will actually end up giving you 75,000 Capital One miles and a $250 travel credit, which since has actually been a little bit changed depending on what referral that you look at, to where personal referrals are actually showing 100,000 Capital One miles if you get approved for this just $95 Venture card. And so, along with the welcome offer being pretty powerful and the fact that the card gets 2x back on absolutely everything, $120 global entry credit that I absolutely need and need to schedule it out very, very soon for an upcoming trip I have overseas. And I guess just a few people still wonder, like, hey, do I regret the decision to get the Venture versus the Venture X and what have you? And I definitely would say I'm a little bit more different in this equation because I have a little bit of more of a nuanced approach to a couple things. Number one is I have a Venture X via an authorized user. So, like, all of the benefits that a lot of people really love, that being lounge access with the Venture X, I already technically have with no annual fee whatsoever. So, that's a thing that you have to keep in mind where my situation is probably different than yours. But another thing is, I'm also of the opinion that, well, even though I get a venture card now, there's nowhere that states that just because I have a venture card today doesn't mean that a year from now, if I really wanted to, I could apply for a Venture X as well. And I would have gotten, a couple of welcome offers over the span of a year and still be able to have the same end result, that being a Venture X. And so I guess when I put it into perspective with my own math on it, I like to look at both cards and I like to see the first year, value that I could potentially get from a card. So the first thing I always look at is, well, since multipliers aren't the biggest deal in my life at the moment, I'm generally just looking at what am I getting on the welcome offer, what are the other benefits and credits, and then other additional perks with a particular card. So number one, with the Venture, it has the limited time offer, like we mentioned, right? Enjoy $250 to use on Capital One travel in your first year. So I'm definitely going to use that probably on a hotel, which kind of plays a role a little bit later that I'm interested in. And then also earn 75,000 bonus miles once you spend $4,000 in purchases in the first 3 months. I'm already halfway there. And so that 75,000 is already equal to that of the exact same welcome offer that the Venture X gives you. Even though with the Venture card, you get an extra $250 to use that. However, I will say, Philmo in the Discord noticed that with some personal referral links, you actually can get not the $250 credit, but you can get 100,000 bonus miles with this Venture card right now, which is absolutely insane for a card that's only $95. Absolutely insane. And so both cards also do come with something else I need, that being a $120 credit for global entry. So I need that. I'm going out of the country soon, and I definitely need that for my wife and I to make coming back to the country a lot easier. So that's also the same as the Venture X as well. And one of the other main differences outside of lounge access, which we already talked about, I have that already with my Venture X authorized user. But another difference here that I think also plays a role into the math and how I was actually technically a little bit conservative in my calculation on the original video is that you can see right here, enjoy a $50 experience credit and other premium benefits with every hotel and vacation rental booked from the lifestyle collection. So you guys may have seen videos I've done in the past, essentially like Amex FHR or MasterCard, for like some of these preferred hotel programs where if you book in this particular way, they'll give you experience credit, a dining credit, they'll give you a breakfast credit, late checkout, all these different things. Well, this is essentially like the light version of that, the lifestyle collection. The Venture X has this as well, that being in the Premier collection, which ends up giving you about $100 experience credit, much like the normal higher levels of these premium preferred hotel programs. So I think that's pretty cool and pretty powerful if so. So I guess the first thing is, well, one, if I'm going to use this $250 towards hotels, well, it better damn be sure be a lifestyle collection hotel to not only get experience with that, but then also reap the benefit of an additional $50 experience credit or whatever that hotel actually offers. And so another thing I thought that was pretty interesting, and I still don't have an answer on, but if any of you guys have actually tested this yet, I just got the card and I haven't tested it fully yet. But if you guys know, if you are an authorized user on the Venture X, I'm wondering if I actually have access to the Premier collection just by being an authorized user. And if so, could I use this $250 towards the VentureX authorized user Premier Collection, thus being able to get that $100 experience credit and not just the $50 experience credit? Either or, that still works into the math that I'm just assuming with the stay. If I ended up doing that, I'm going to call that a cool, $300 travel credit because I'm somebody that likes to eat at the hotel restaurant. And if I'm getting $50 towards that, I'm going to be adding that into the math as well. And of course, the biggest difference is, and not only just the annual fee being $300 more for the Venture X, you also get an offset of $300 in annual travel credit with the Venture X itself. So that helps offset. And then after you hold the card for a year, you get 10,000 bonus miles itself. So for the most part, if you really do the math on it, you just figure, what are we getting? We're getting $1,000 minimum travel value with the welcome offer on the Venture, the one that we got. Obviously, you could do the math at home on what those partners are worth and what have you. So $1,000, going to take advantage of that $120 TSA pre-check. If I use that $50 credit at those particular hotels, call that another $50, and that's coming out with $1,170 in potential value from this card, minus the $95 annual fee, and you get $1,075 in first year value just by getting this card, hitting the welcome offer, and then having fun with it. And if we do that same math for the Venture X, what do we have? So for the welcome offer, it's $75,000, so we'll call it $750, much like the other card. We're also going to be getting a $300 travel credit right off the bat. Maybe if we use that Premier Collection hotel, we're also getting a $100 experience credit there, even though it could be higher. You also have the $120 TSA pre-check or global entry. That would end up being $1,270 minus the $395 in annual fee first year, so $875 versus just the $1,075, so about $200 more on the standard Venture card as more of a test drive until you want the Venture X maybe a year from then. Which then, if you keep it for over a year, then once again now you're just paying your $395 annual fee minus that $300 travel credit minus the $100 you're actually getting for those anniversary bonus miles. That's why people mention plus positive $5, right, when they mention the Venture X and whatnot. So yeah, for me it's a bit of a toss up. It's a way for me personally to get into the world of Capital One and their miles, their ecosystem, test drive it, see how I like it. And then if I really want to commit to it and I'm still eligible a year from now, I could always get the Venture X, hopefully get an elevated welcome offer of another 100,000 bonus miles. But in the meantime, get the 75,000 bonus miles, have a really nice, hopefully a business class flight I'm looking to use them for or use them with, and then another 250 for whatever else. And so personally, if you're on the fence between these two, I guess if you're somebody that absolutely needs lounge access, I would say is the biggest differentiator, at least first year for these cards. Sure, I could see you if you're pre-approved for both, maybe go for the Venture X as well. But that's why I think just opting in for the test drive version, the Venture card for a full year, reap all those benefits, test drive. If you like it, go for the Venture X a year from now. And I still stand by liking the Venture over the Venture X for the first year. And I also still stand by that it looks nicer than the Venture X. I mean, come on, it just looks nicer. So let me know your thoughts on that. But another thing I actually thought was interesting, and again, before we go into like this other crazy thing I'm about to talk about, again, the referral links, if you ever want to get the Venture or even the Venture X, click on them. They're right down in the pinned comment below. So you can apply for the Venture X or the Venture through my link, which would be much, much appreciated. But one thing I wanted to mention, something I was talking about on a live stream just yesterday when I was showing off the Venture card, is that there's actually a pretty interesting strategy by getting this card that I think would be really insane if I were to be able to pull it off. And it's almost like, I guess I'm coining it as the backdoor method. And anybody who's having a lot of trouble getting the Capital One Duo, that being the Saver and the Venture X. So stick with me because I think it's actually fairly interesting, and I think it's quite possible for the right people. And if you have aspirations to hold the Capital One Duo, maybe this is helpful for you too. So one thing I was thinking is, well, one, the Venture card. Okay. The Venture card, it's a powerful card. I'm going to keep it for a year. Now, what I think I'm going to do after a year is a couple of things. Now, number one, you have to know that the Venture card is what's considered a MasterCard nowadays. Actually, a World Elite MasterCard. You know how much we love World Elite MasterCards. In the past, when this card was issued, it was just a Visa, so a normal Visa card. Now, what a lot of people know is that the Venture X, in fact, is a Visa card. So the exact same partner network. Okay. So it's a Visa to a Visa. Okay. So people in the past who had a Venture card were actually eligible to product change or upgrade their original Venture card that was a Visa back then to their Venture X, and then they could have a more powerful card. So that's one way people have done it for anybody that has a Venture card that was issued in the past. But like I said, as of recent, they've switched the network to MasterCard, which in theory disallow you to product change from a MasterCard to a Visa, even though Chase does this with no problem, where you can actually downgrade a Sapphire card, like a preferred or a reserve, down to a Freedom Flex, which is a MasterCard, and the Sapphires are Visas, right? So other companies do this. Capital One seems to not do this.
Well, actually, it seems like just some of the time they don't do this. And I think it's more of an issue with Capital One's system and actually allowing you to be eligible for certain product changes and whatnot. Because after theorizing this on video where like, okay, Chase is able to cross networks no problem, why would Capital One have this issue unless it's just a Capital One product change issue that we know that they have, where it seems like nobody is eligible until you're eligible. And Mr. Dan the Man in the Discord mentioned that his wife actually has a Visa Quicksilver that has the ability and eligible product change offer to the Saver, which is a MasterCard. So much like everything else in this game, it's all a data point until it's not a data point, and then eventually aggregate all the data, and then you have a semblance of an idea of what's possible. So I'm glad that that is possible, at least a direct data point to show that it's possible. And well, you know, Capital One. All right, back to it.
But another thing I found interesting is that, well, what about the other half of the Capital One duo, that being the Saver? Well, the Saver we know is a MasterCard World Elite as well. Thus, if everything is true, theoretically, you should be able to, if you're eligible, right? Capital One has these things where you're not eligible until they say so. So, like on Chase or American Express, you can kind of just upgrade and downgrade whenever you want. Capital One, you need to be eligible in their back end system to even be allowed to product change to those particular cards. If you call on the phone and ask, it's not going to happen. I'm sorry to tell you. However, something like my brother-in-law did recently was he actually had a MasterCard Platinum card. That's right, just the lowest level Capital One card you could pretty much get outside of secured. And they actually sent him a product change offer to go from the Platinum to the Saver card. And to this day, he now has a Saver card. Lucky him. And so what I'm theorizing is, well, if I don't want to get the Saver card and I don't care about the welcome offer, but I want a pretty powerful card that can earn 3% back on groceries, restaurants, a few different things, the Venture card could be a backdoor method to getting that Saver card. But this presents a problem, right? Because a lot of us who are watching this want to take our points and use it for travel. We want to travel and with our points and miles. And so if you just have a strictly cashback card in the Saver, okay, you no longer have the ability to take your Capital One miles and stretch them further, sending them over to partner airlines or even the Capital One travel portal. And so by doing this, you essentially whack-a-mole it, where you solve a problem and then you also create a problem for yourself as well. So what I thought might be interesting, and if this actually does come into fruition at some point, is, well, another thing. So if you are somebody who ever had the Quicksilver card, and yes, I know we have the sticker on it, this is the newest version of the Quicksilver card. If you look at the back of it, now the Quicksilver is issued by MasterCard World Elite as well. So basically, it looks like they're transitioning all their cards except for like the Venture X over to MasterCard. But I also have a Quicksilver of the past. Quicksilver of the past is a Visa. So a Visa card. And don't worry about how dirty it is. I never use it. So this is a Visa Quicksilver. So I have not only a MasterCard Visa, but also a Quicksilver Visa. And theoretically, what's quite possible, and something that we were theorizing on stream yesterday, is if I do have a MasterCard Quicksilver, right, like the one we just showed, then you actually quite literally could possibly have an upgrade or a product change offer from that MasterCard Quicksilver over to the Saver card. Okay, cool. So that would end up solving that issue. Okay, cool. So then you theoretically could have like the poor man's Capital One duo where you have a Venture and a Saver. But another thing that was interesting that a lot of people brought up that I wanted to mention on video today is that anybody that has the Visa Quicksilver, one thing that they found, and it was a couple people on stream, I was surprised, is that once they hit a credit limit of $10,000 on their Quicksilver Visa, they immediately, as soon as they had a credit limit of 10K, immediately got a product change offer or an upgrade offer from the Quicksilver over to the Venture X. What's going on, Mahagi? I transferred credit limit to a Visa Quicksilver totaling 10K and got it. Oh, wow. So maybe that's the thing. If you can get a Visa Quicksilver, that's 2 data points now in just this stream. So it's got to be bigger than we think. So 10K credit limit, we can get a Venture X. But how's that going to happen? And they were able to quite literally product change their Quicksilver to the Venture X, which is pretty powerful. So I was just thinking about a world where, okay, cool. I accumulate a good amount of points and miles with my Saver card, and theoretically can take all of my Quicksilver cash. Since you guys may or may not know, but you can take Capital One cash from your Saver Quicksilver, and you could actually take those rewards and convert it into miles, to which you can then in turn use that for your transfer partners, your Capital One travel portal. And that's why a lot of people actually opt into the Capital One Duo, because it's very simplistic, easy to justify, and can take you very far with their cash back and their miles currencies. So I think that's fairly interesting. So I'm like, okay, could this quite literally be the ultimate backdoor method if you're going to forego welcome offers, if you're going to forego anything else? Quite literally trying to product change a Visa Quicksilver into a Venture X, and then also either a Venture or a Quicksilver MasterCard into a Saver card. And this way you have the backdoor method of the Capital One Duo. And this is actually something that I theorized, and some people actually implemented a couple of years ago that said that helped them, was that a lot of people who ended up getting a Capital One Platinum card, whether it be secured or not, eventually their secured Platinum card, which I think nowadays is still a MasterCard, once that turned into an unsecured card, for whatever reason, right off the bat, it's same as my brother-in-law. As soon as they got the Platinum card, MasterCard, they got a product change offer straight to the Saver, and they were able to get the Saver as well. Because I know there's a lot of people out there that do not want to apply for Capital One cards because they don't want to get hit with the 3 inquiries, or they have other cards they want to apply for, and they don't care necessarily for the $200 cashback offer on the Saver, which I understand as well. And they might want to hit other higher welcome offers, but still reap the benefits of a pretty powerful card, that being a no annual fee Saver that gives you 3% back on a lot of different things. So I just thought that was a fairly interesting way to get that all done if you're somebody that's trying to do it in that way. So I just wanted to mention to you guys today. And so I do still think that the welcome offer on the Venture card is still pretty powerful. And I guess I kind of just wanted to show it off and have an excuse to show it off a little bit, because I was actually surprised when it came in the mail. But even beyond that, I really do think it is a pretty powerful card kind of going forward. Will I keep it after a year? Likely not. And then this raises another issue, though, is that when you have a Capital One Duo, now what do you do with it? Once you have the cash back, the miles, what have you, how could you get the most amount of value out of the Capital One Duo? And that's why I want you to watch this video in the top corner of your screen right now. It was me and Eric Gao, who has the Capital One Duo, and how he used it to go to Japan and some other places abroad, and just how he uses it in his day-to-day life. So I hope to see you in that video. And as always, thank you guys for being here. I appreciate every single one of you. Thank you so much.